Loud and clear. Awesome. All right, everyone, welcome to the 15th episode of the Best Ever Weiss Schwarz Set Review Show. I am not your host, Yue Peng, but I've been invited back on because unfortunately Jason is out. I don't know.
He's in
having the time of his
Toronto
life.
right now.
Yeah, in Toronto having the time of his life. So I am substitute. So it's glad to be back. Thank you, Kevin, for allowing me to come back. I am joined by the host, Kevin Kilua. He operates quite a wonderful blog, very famous blog that covers Japanese content. And this is a Japanese show, so it kind of works well together that way. And today, we got a pretty special guest because he's a huge World Trigger fan, from what I understand. Actually, he really likes the show. And you can introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Kenny from Hawaii. Play a lot of Weiss. Love deck building and pretty excited to see the set come out and being able to play all my favorite characters.
Cool. And I know how that feels like whenever a SAO set comes out. It's just that experience is unmatched to be able to play with your favorite characters. Before we go in, I'd like to thank our sponsors. I haven't done this in a while, but our sponsors are Nova TCG for all your Japanese Weiss Schwarz needs in North America, or even if you're out of North America. I think they provide some pretty good international services as well. Secondly, Weiss Tea Time for the card translations. The only reason we can get this as early as Thursday is because we have great people at Weiss Tea Time translating. Also, they made the slides, and the slides are beautiful as always. So thank you so much, Weiss Tea Time and Taya, everyone who helps out with that project. Thirdly, most importantly, maybe not most importantly, but most importantly for me, Strictly BrokentCG, thank you for allowing us to use your platform to host this show. Before we get into it, last thing I do want to address is our 5-star rating scale. So it's a bit unconventional, but we made up this concept of this scale because we wanted to give clarity to what it means to be worth like a 2-star or 3-star. You know, what does a 3-star even mean? So we define the stars for you guys, so you kind of get an idea of what the star represents for a card. A 1-star card is a bad card, a card that you just don't want to play, especially when it's high rarity. A 1-star card is a card that you just probably don't want to put the money into buying. A 2-star card is a card that is fringe. You can pick it up. Sometimes you only pick up 1 or 2 copies. Sometimes it's meta dependent. Sometimes it's player dependent, style dependent. 3-star is a card that the reviewer will have trouble analyzing because, you know, there are a bunch of cards like that in Weiss. You never know where the meta is headed. You also never know when an original card's power level is. It's a little bit hard to distinguish sometimes, and we give those 3s. A 4-star card is a good card. Honestly, like, you'd probably play it in most decks, or the decks that the card is supposed to go in. It's like a good card. It's really self-explanatory in that sense. And a 5-star card is a card that is spectacular. If you are an opponent playing against the set, you should at least, at the bare minimum, know these cards. These are the cards that kind of stand out in the set, make the set what it is, and must buys in some if you want to play like the best build or whatever. So that's the 5-star rating scale. Kevin, shall we get into the show?
Yep, I just finished everything up from work. All right.
Hoggy woggy, man.
We're starting with the TD highlights. Oh. Yep. There you go.
All right, starting off, we got this 00K. It cannot side attack, and auto ability, discard 2 Treon characters. When this card is placed on stage from hand, you may pay the cost. If you do, look it up to 2 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 card from among them, add it to hand, and send the rest to stock in any order.
I've seen one of this card before that I can remember. It's from Bofuri. I don't think that card really saw any play, nor do I expect this one to see play.
I think it's pretty interesting, right? It's like comparable to like the hand to stock type of effect. And I do know like some people like to play that effect with like a little bit more extra utility. So for that merit, like I think it is kind of interesting. So I'd give it a 2.
All right, 2. Next card.
1-0 Soya. During your turn, this card gets 3,000 power. And when this card attacks, you may pay the cost. If you do during the trigger step, you may perform trigger check twice. Twin Drival, like in Vanguard.
Alright, so on turn 6K with Twin Drive, do you note that this set has a lot of effects that happens if you trigger a soul trigger?
Yeah, not only that, it's like there's a few like I guess level 1s we'll get into to like choose from as like level 1 beaters, and I think this is like one of the more viable ones with them. So this card's definitely a good card to consider in a deck if you're playing like level yellow level 1. So it's a 2-star.
Alright. Next.
2/1 Kiri. During your turn, for each of your other Treon characters, it gets 1500 power.
So what is this? Just a 13k beast
2/1.
deck?
Yeah,
2/1
13k. Yeah. So like among sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so among these card profiles, like these 2/1 like beaters, I think this is like probably the best one in the set. I was looking through all of them in all the different colors, and like just like the power, along with like the consistency of it, I felt like this is probably the best one to choose from. And we'll go along and dissect the other ones later. So this is a 2-star.
Next.
0/0. I might butcher this, but Husei?
Yeah.
It's Hughes.
Hughes. Okay.
Never mind.
When this is placed on stage from hand, mill 3. If there is a climax among them this turn, your opponent cannot use auto encore. Discard climax card. When this card is placed on stage from hand, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose a Treon character from your waiting room and add it to hand.
Definitely, you probably just play this as a one-of just for the second effect, but first effect is pretty interesting. It's mill 3, not mill 2 for some reason.
Yeah, so obviously like people love this effect. Discard climax salvage, really good consistency card. The first effect I do think is really interesting. It's like probably most notable against like standby matchups. You can really like mess up people's fields and like just win the game off of that. The thing I think might be annoying about this card is the mill 3 is mandatory, which means it can actually like mess up your game state as well when you don't want to be milling. So because of that, I'd give it a 3. Like a really strong first effect, really strong second effect, but like really unpredictable potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Right, next.
0/0 Osamu. It's 500 assist. And when the pants climax pictured below is placed in your climax area, choose one of your Treon characters. It gets 2500 power.
So do you note that this CX does go with 2 other characters in the trial deck? That's what makes it more viable.
Yeah, so the entire like I guess the trial deck package combo I think is pretty strong. This card gives like quite a lot of power on the climax combo, like onto level 1, and it like really does help like kill a lot of things like 1175s. Even like it can even get up to like killing like 2/2s in some cases. So like if you're playing the pants combo, which I don't even think is that bad, like you'll definitely be playing this card. So it's 2.
Right, 2-star it is. Next.
The 1/0 Yuma, which combos with the same pants climax from before. When this card is placed on stage from hand, it gets 1500 power for the turn. And a climax combo, when it attacks, and you have 4 or more other Treon characters and the climax in play, choose a character from your waiting room and you may add it to hand.
So the most important card of this 3-card package it's a decent combo. We've seen it before, and it saw some play.
Yeah, so if we just look at the power really quickly, like based with the Osamu, like you have this card, that card. I think it gets up to like 10k with and like yeah, that's like pretty powerful. The thing I think annoying about this card is like the 4 or more condition, because like, you know, salvage effects tend to be like on reverse, or they might have like a condition to them, and like the 4 or more can definitely be like a annoying what's it called, like condition to make this card awkward to play. I think that's a downside. I think I would give this card a 3 because I think like on attack salvage is really powerful, but there's like potential downsides to this card.
3, right?
Yeah, 3.
Right. Next one.
1/0 Chica. During your turn, it gets 1000 power, and when this card attacks, choose one of your other Treon characters, it gets X power. X equals the number of your other Treon characters times 500 power.
Yeah, so it's a Shimakai, pretty basic. I guess I don't know if you guys have like a jargon phrase for that, but yeah, it's pretty solid. 2-star Shimakai, good card. Wanted to point out that it was here.
All right, 2-star Shimakai.
1/1 Husei. If you have 2 or more other Treon characters, plus 2,000 power, making it 7/5. And then hand encore, discard a character.
Yeah, so this is like your main standby target, or like I guess like the conventional main standby target. The thing that I want to point out was that it's blue, so maybe something comparable to like Hololive or something, where like you're playing standby, but you're gonna have like tech into a lot of blue potentially, and that's why I think like that's like a building choice in terms of like standby builds, and that's why I want to point this card out. But it is it's a 2-star, like standard 1175 hand encore.
Standard 1/1. Right, next card.
3/2 Yuma. For each of your other Treon characters, it gets 500 power. So 11,500 full cap. And when this card is placed on stage from hand, you may shuffle all cards from your waiting room into your deck, and it gets 2,000 power for the turn.
I think this card's pretty cool one of, and a lot of, like, you can splash this into like a lot of builds. Thing I do like about this card is that like the power is really high, which I think is really important for this set. When we get into like the level 3, the main level 3, I guess, of this set, I think having the high power is very essential, and like playing these really cool like utility cards without sacrificing power, I think is really good. So I think this card's a 3. It will probably be played like as a 1-of in a lot of builds. Probably be pretty strong.
Right, pretty good 3.
3/2 Chica. When this card is placed on stage from hand, you may heal 1, and a climax combo when this card attacks. If you have the pants in play, the same one that combo with the level 1 and the back row from earlier, it gets 9,000 power for the turn.
So 19k healer. What, you have to play this CX instead of the other one. Although your finisher does not have to have a can burn route using a CX, so that is a possible choice.
Yeah, so like, you know, if you're playing the level 1 Yuma combo, I think this is like a good slot in, just naturally, like regardless of what level 3 combo you're playing, because like, you know, sometimes you might not get like the level 3 combo at level 3. This is definitely something you can do in place of that. It's like 19k, it's a healer. It's definitely something to do. It's like, it's proactive on your field. And it's also like not bad, even if you're just playing as a vanilla healer. That's why I thought this card was pretty interesting. I'd give it a 2. Like, you'd play it if you're playing the level 1 combo, but other than that, I don't think you'd be playing it.
That's for sure.
Another TD 3/2. This one's Osamu. If you have 2 or more other Treon characters, it gets 1,000 power. And when this card is placed on stage from hand, choose up to 1 character from your hand whose level is equal or lower than your level. Place it on stage in any slot, and this turn it gets 2,000 power.
Just that 11/5 free play, I guess.
Yeah, I think this card's pretty handy. Like I said, you're going to be wanting to like have like a really strong field, as well as like potentially like the extra soul on like on your field to like have like a full level 3 field. I think can come into play. That's why I thought this card was like a pretty good card in terms of most of the builds to like have good field setup. So I give this card a 2.
Right. Next card. Yue, we can't hear you. Hello? Wait, Yue, we can't hear. Can you hear him?
I apologize. This is a new mic. It's a little bit. I hit something here. Okay, I apologize. So the last trial deck card we'll be looking at today is this 1/0 event. It has a counter ability. When you use it, you may draw a card and discard a card. And the other effect is that you can choose one of your Treon characters this turn. It gets the following ability. When this card is sent from stage to waiting room, you may place this on stage in this card's former slot rested.
Very nice card, actually. Free hand filter, as well as being able to save a character. all for 0 stock. It was nice.
Yeah, so this card I felt was like maybe one of the set identifying cards of the set, not because of how strong it is, but because like I feel like if you play this card, it's like what's gonna make you feel like you're playing World Trigger, because like Bailout is like I guess one of the cool like unique identifiers of like this anime. So like I think that's a really important part of this card is it's like very thematic to the set. In terms of how viable it is, I think it's like very viable in red. It probably isn't good in yellow. It's probably fine in green, and I think it's a little awkward in blue because like the blue is the level 1 combo that we just looked at, and like the blue the Yuma is on play power. So if you're like saving the Yuma to like to repeat the combo, it is going to be weaker on the second turn, which is why I think it's a little awkward with that. But as we'll get into it, I think this card's pretty interesting in red. For now, I think it's a 2, but it's definitely like set unique cool card.
All right, and that is it for the TD cards. It was pretty short, so we'll just go straight into yellow, right, UA?
I'm down.
All right, let's go
Mellow for yellow, man. 00K. Man, I like this guy's like Asian mustache. It's pretty nice. When this sorry, not mustache, Asian goatee.
Just like me.
Dang, we got a cosplayer right here on the show. This guy is the same guy. When this attacks, choose one of your Treon characters. It gets 1500 power. When this card's battle opponent is reversed, choose one of your other Treon characters rested and move it to an empty back row slot.
Exclamation point, clean cut. It's a pretty unique clean cut because it does duel into a utility card in the late game. You can't get reverse. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so firstly, I want to mention that Kei Tachikawa is border #1 attacker, which is why he's card #1.
Oh, flavor.
Okay, but so yeah, I think the on attack power is really useful. It lets you transition this card from being like a beater at level 0 to like a pretty good utility card later into the game. I think the downside to that though is it's I think less annoying like on defense, like especially at level 0, if like compared to like a 3K or something, where like sometimes your opponent will have to side it. I think generally they'll always be able to attack over this card, but I think it is a really strong clean cut because it does transition really well. So I think this is a 4.
Woo, 4. All right.
10 Kyrie?
TDA, yeah.
Kyrie, I got it. During your turn, if you have another Treon character, this card gets 3000 power. Climax combo, when the choice climax that is pictured is placed in your climax area if you have 2 or more other Treon characters until end of your opponent's next turn. This card gets 1000 power and the following ability. When this card is frontal attacked, you may return this card back to your hand.
You note that it has a soul trigger on it. So it's one of those AK overalls. We've seen it in the Shiny Mask, and I think Sunshine. No, Nijigasaki has it too, but no one ever plays that set. That overall. Unfortunately, it's not a CX that can loop itself, like a bar or a pants.
Yeah. So the fact that it has a soul trigger, I think, is more of a convenience than anything to pay any mind to. Like obviously, you can grab it with the choice, but I don't think it very drastically changes the mechanics of this card. Well, I do want to add that Kirie Konami is #3 attacker, which is why she has 3k power.
Okay, but she's not #3 card.
I know, that's kind of pretty rip, dude. That was pretty rip. Okay, but yeah, so 8k means it can kill like it can kill over like standbys, right? So it's like 1175. Yeah. It can really easily get over that. Agree that because it's not on a bar. That's where like I think these type of combos get a lot of value is like spamming them over multiple turns, because by playing this combo and not having like a hard plus or like a card selectivity plus, it really lowers your like card quality later into the game. On the other hand, like it's potentially like alleviated to somewhat if you play like Climax Swapper and like Pants Trigger, which I feel like you most likely will. So I think it would be interesting to see. It's also like probably like the most stable level 1, because a lot of level 1s are kind of weird. They have weird conditions or whatnot. This one's like probably one of the more stable ones to play. So for that, I'd give it a 4. It's really solid.
Right, 4-star it is.
Next up, 3-2 Yuichi. This card's placed on stage from hand, draw up to 2 cards, then discard a card. Climax combo with this choice, number 30. Pay 2, discard 2 cards is the cost. When this card attacks, if the choice is in the climax area, you pay the cost. If you do, this card gets 2,000 power and the following ability, which can be only activated once per turn. When damage dealt by this card is cancelled, you may deal X damage to your opponent twice. X equals the number of 1-0 events in your waiting room. And you can see the effect of the 1-0 event, but we'll go over it later.
Alright, so this type of card, the enemy event is the important part, because the event package is pretty nice, but we'll talk about that later. But other than that, it's not a healing finisher, and is he number 2 attacker in this branch?
No, he's S rank.
Oh, X-Wing?
Yeah. That's just what he's like S rank, which is like I guess higher than numbers, but whatever.
Okay.
Okay, but so like this card, like I think is really similar to like the level 3 Saber from Heaven's Field 2. And like when I first saw that card on paper, I thought it like really sucked until I played it. And I think it's actually pretty sick. It just like can kill your opponent like from like really low, from like mid 2 sometimes. Albeit that card you can like pump a lot of soul, but in some cases you can do that even with this card, with like all the soul triggers you're playing and like the soul stacking initiative. One thing I think is kind of weird is like, yes, you can control the burn with the event, but it's actually like kind of counterintuitive because you can always increase the burn number, but you can't actually like decrease it. So it's like it's really all in and like really like spicy, like blow your opponent up. But I want to say just don't underestimate this combo because I underestimated the combo in Fate, and I think it's actually pretty good.
Yeah,
I'll give it.
Saber.
Yeah, I'd give it a 3.
All right. Border boy, card number 3 gets 3-star.
Fog. That means this has to be a 4, right? This is 0-0-U. I don't know. We'll see. Alarm. If this is on top of your clock at the beginning of your opponent's climax phase, all of your Treon characters gain the following ability until the end of the turn. Discard a card when this is front attack. You may pay the cost. If you do, this turn it gets 2,000 power. Pay 1, rest this, reveal the top card of your deck if that card has a soul trigger added to hand.
All right. Very inconsistent +1. That's quite unfortunate. But the alarm effect could be useful. But
Yeah,
you did run it just for the alarm. There's no point running it for the second effect.
Yeah, so I'd say like this card I guess reminds you of like the card from what is it? Data Live extra boost, Data Bullet extra boost, the Kudumi. And I think that card had like a lot better like second effect. It was like on attack 15, and like even then with a better effect, it was like really niche to see that card's play. Not only that, this set has a lot of act abilities, and the fact that like you would be using this in place of punches, and I think that's counterintuitive to like the act theme in like the types of decks I think you would want to play this card in, like replacing it with punches. And like you said, the second effect, I don't think you'd really play it for that effect because it's super inconsistent and really random. So I think this card's a 1, unfortunately. I really don't think you'd play this card.
Oof, quite sad. Just a 1.
Is that the first one? The first one.
The first one of the set. Okay, we did every single TD cards. There'll be a lot more ones.
Yeah, I know. We only did like half the TD.
0-0 Nozomi. During your turn, this card gets 1,000 power. And they discard a card when this card is sent from stage to waiting room. You may pay the cost if you do. Look at up to 4 cards on the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 level 1 or higher card from among them. Show it to your opponent, add it to hand, and send the rest to waiting room.
We call these cheery, although some people are trying to force Fuka. Otherwise, just 2/5 on turn cheery, which is like pretty standard nowadays. Nothing special.
I vote Fukujiro. Yeah. Okay, but so I'd say the OP ones of this card, like the Fubuki or the Kotori, like they power pump other cards, so they're really good utility cards. It might be a small downside that this card only gives power to itself, but I definitely think it's really good as a beater, especially like if you clean cut it or something. Like it's like a multi-turn like 2/5. I think that's like really consistent, as well as like, you know, Kiri's like really good cards. So I think this is a solid 4.
Nice 4. This was the 4, not like the last card.
Sag. 0/0 Futaba. When this card is placed on stage from hand, mill 2. If there is a climax among those cards this turn, it gets +2 soul. And then when this card is placed on stage from hand, if you have another Treon character, it gets 2000 power for the turn.
So potentially 4k 3 soul beater at level 0, but there's don't have much place in the meta.
Yeah, a lot of the cards are like really nice in power anyway, so I don't really think like you need this for, like particularly need this for the 4k. Mill 2, like there's a lot of good milling cards in this set as well, so I think both of this effects can be replaced by other cards. So unfortunately, I think this is a 1.
Unfortunately, it's a 1.
0/0 Shun. This card cannot side attack, and at the start of your opponent's attack phase, you may move this to an empty front row slot.
We often call these free runners, but this card has the power of a mill runner without having to mill.
So I think there's a lot of like, I guess, what's it called, like argument or conversation these days about like clean cut, playing into clean cut, and how to play against clean cut, or even if you want to play clean cut yourself, right? So I think like if you don't want to play clean cut, this is definitely like probably the second best yellow for that slot to play. So for that, I'd give this card a solid 3.
Nice.
1/0 Yuichi. When this card's trigger check reveals a soul trigger, world trigger, soul. Okay,
Okay.
Keck. You may draw a card if you do discard a card. When this is reversed, if the battle opponent's cost is 0 or lower, you may send that character to stock. If you do, put the bottom card of your opponent's stock into waiting room.
Note that it has a soul trigger.
Yeah. Also note that I guess that the trigger, the what's it called, the filter effect only works on this card's attack. Like I said with the KDA, I do think the soul trigger is more of a convenience than anything particular. I do think this card is in competition with like the double trigger from the trial deck, as well as like there is a time machine that is a box topper, and I think all 3 of these are like pretty good 1/0 beaters, and I'd say that's more like personal preference on which one of these 3 you'd play. So I'd give it a 2. Stock bombs are good. Sometimes people play them.
You know, I just realized all the trigger effects because it's world trigger. I'm so dumb.
Oh no. Did it even need to be said?
1/1 Shinji, 500 assist, and it's a brainstorm. Pay 1, tap self. Flip over the top 4 cards of your deck, then send them to waiting room for each climax. Search your deck for a Treon character, show it to your opponent, and add a hand, shuffle your deck afterwards.
500 assist brainstorms. We don't see too much of them. We do know one set that used it a lot, which was Risaya.
Kimono Friends, Go Strikers. If you remember that.
You have to commit to yellow in your level 1 in order to play this.
Yeah, I don't even think that's like a bad idea, because I think like level 1, or like not level 1, yellow is like really easy to like slot into like a lot of builds. There's a lot of good yellow cards. This is one of only 2 of like, I guess like the conventional brainstorms, which would be search or salvage. So I do think that like there is a place to like play this card in decks because of that. But it is like, you know, it's a standard brainstormer. Give it a 2. Sometimes you'd play it if it fits right. I'd also argue that like when we get to it, you could probably play like 6 brainstormers, like play 2 of these and 4 of the other one. I think would be pretty interesting.
6 brainstorm. I think deck I'm thinking about doing that is Hololive.
A.
Alright, UA.
Next up, 2/1 Kohei. When your trigger check reveals a soul Wait, I feel like I read this before, but it's actually a different card. It's crazy. If you do discard a card, rest this, choose one of your Treon characters, it gets 3000 power. And then pay 2, rest this, choose one of your opponent's characters, and bounce it back to hand.
It's because this one is when any of your characters' trigger checks reveals the soul trigger, not just itself. This card has nice tool to basically guarantee you win 1 lane, or you can just bounce the 1 lane you can't win.
Yeah, so I think when we get over, or when we discuss level 3 Yuma, I think this card's like it's like one of 2 like back row options to like support the 2 on Yuma. This one having to bounce in the 3k, and we'll explain the other one when it comes up. So I do think this is like a good card to like consider playing if you're playing gate combo. And because of that, I'm going to give it a 3. Really good utility effects.
Okay.
2/1I. For each of your 1/1 blue event in your memory, this card gets 3,000 power. And has Hand Encore. And the blue event is pictured below.
Do note, little spoiler, that the blue event does not have it doesn't have a bonder to it, right? I don't remember.
Yeah, it does not.
So it makes it pretty inconsistent to be able to reach that memory condition in multiples.
Yeah, so you know, when you think about like how crazy this card could get, like let's say you get like 4 cards in memory, this card's like 15k. But like even in decks that like have bonders to like these 1/1 memory events, like I feel like the range that you would actually get in memory is between like 1 and 4. It's like really random feeling anyway. So without it, it's even less consistent. And so like I think it's like a pretty big liability to play this card, even if you're playing the event. Just because you never know like how useful it'll actually be. So unfortunately, I think she's a 1.
Sag.
Unfortunate. It's big Sag.
Big Sag.
Big Sag.
2/1 Soya. When this card's trigger check reveals a card with a soul trigger, this turn this card gets 6,000 power, and it has a twin drive. So you know, pay the cost and then drive twice.
Do you know
trigger
that
twice.
this twin drive is an act, not a on attack? So it's kind of more awkward. You can't pay out CX's mid battle, mid attack phase. But do note it also can get 2 6k pumps, so it can be 825.
Yeah, I think that's pretty high rolly. Like I said when I mentioned the 2/1 from the trial deck, I think that's just like way more consistent than this card because it's 13k. This one's like 12.5, I'd say on average, and like I don't think you can reliably like consider this a 20k. So I don't think I'd ever play this card over the trial deck one if I were to play this type of card, like especially because it's yellow as well for this slot. So I'm gonna give this card a 1.
Sag.
0/0 Shohei. When this card is placed on stage from hand, if you have 2 or more other Trion characters, you may draw a card and discard a card if you drew one.
Okay, so
And then sorry, there is a second ability. I was trying to read if you don't draw, do you have to dish, and you do not. So that's Pogo.
Yeah,
That's actually the first time I read the card that closely, so I did not know that.
Okay.
And pay 1 to discard a Trion character. When this card is placed on stage from hand, you may pay the cost if you do. Look at up to 5 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 character from among them, show it to your opponent, add it to hand, send the rest to waiting. Sorry, I was not like high. I promise you. I was just reading the effect.
This guy was busy playing a bunch of MTG. That's fine. Okay.
I swear.
For this type of effect, though, it is a double discard outlet, double hand filter, and you do get through 6 cards in your deck, so it's pretty nice for like 8 standby.
yeah, so I do think there is merit in double hand fix. I do think milling the top check 5 I think is pretty strong. Unfortunately, I think like if I were to play this type of effect, I would potentially want to play like the Kazuma type effect, which this set does have in the trial deck. The pay 1, discard, top 3 check out a character or add a card. Just so I think, you know, being able to grab events or standbys, or not standbys, just like climaxes, I think is relevant for this type of card effect. But I do think overall it's a pretty good hand filter card. So I think it's a 2.
Deuces. 0/0 Tsukihiko. During your turn, if the character across from this is green, 3,000 power pump. If the character across from this is yellow, +2 soul. When this card attacks, if the character across from this is blue, you reveal the top card of your deck. That card is a Trion character, add to hand, and then discard 1. Or an event, by the way. Trion or event. And enter your turn when this is reversed, if the battle opponent is red, that's levels 1 or lower, you may reverse that character.
So just a whole bunch of color-based effects. It's pretty cool and funny, but it's not consistent.
Yeah, so what I was thinking about this card, the first thing maybe not first thing, but like something I noticed is I think this card like perfectly counters Kaguya in the sense that like green, it messes with K. It's bigger than the Riki Chica, so it can like front the Chica for 3. It can kill like the 1/0 red cards that they play, and like it can slam into like the 2/2 eye because it's blue to like get a good like hand fix effect. So I guess what I'm saying is like if the stars align, this card's pretty sick. Or if you're like 360 no scope, Galaxy Brain, like you can outplay your local meta with this card. But I do think like generally effects are pretty random results depending on all the matchups. I think this card's like a 1.
Sad.
Unfortunate. He's like the main villain of the series, right? Or
No, he's like he's a good guy. He's like one of the strongest people of the good guys. He's like S rank as well.
but he's 1 star here, so unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
That OP here.
0-0 Reiji, accelerate, put a Treon character from your waiting room on the bottom of your clock. Start of your climax phase, if this is in the front row, you may pay the cost. If you do switch your deck for up to 1 Treon character, show it to your opponent, add the hand, discard a card, and shuffle your deck afterwards.
So these type of cards, this is kind of similar to those, like, I don't know if you guys know from Mushoku, but they have like the, just put a character in the clock and then you can search one. But this is like worse timing because your search is not beneficial right away.
Yeah, but something I did think was super cool about this card was you can kind of use it as like a foolish burial and standby, or like you can search for like a 1/1, like turn 0, turn 1. You can search for like a 1/1, discard it, and just stand by it. I think is really cool usage of this card. So I think this it might be. It's a 2/5. Pretty good beater. I thought it was a 2 just for that purpose alone. You can probably play in a standby for that purpose.
Cool.
It's cool. It is cool. 1-0 Shuji. When this card is placed on stage from hand, choose one of your opponent's characters until the end of your opponent's next turn. It gets the following ability, which is it cannot move to other slots. And pay 1 when this card is placed on stage from hand. You may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of the 1-0 event in your waiting room and add it to hand.
Do you know that you can target your opponent's back row with the first effect? So your opponent's playing standby, you can just target like a back row 2/2, so you can't move to the front row. That's pretty cool. Otherwise, it's pay 1 bonder, and pay 1 bonder are always nice in the game.
Yeah, so it's a pay 1 bonder to I think a really good event, as well as like that first effect. I think has like some pretty good utility to it, and because of that, I'd give it a 3. It's like basically a pay 1 Amagi, right? Or it's like an Amagi on play. So I do think it's a pretty good card.
Mm-hmm.
Give it a 3.
3 it is.
1-0 Kyosuke. Accelerate. You put a Treon character from your waiting room on the bottom of your clock. At the start of your climax phase, you pay the cost. If you do, choose one of the 2 following effects. It either gets 3,000 power, and at the end of your turn, send the card to stock, or this turn it gets 2 soul. At the end of the turn, send it to stock.
Do note that end of turn timing is after encore steps, so if this gets reversed, it'll still go to waiting reverse instead of stock.
Yeah, so when I saw this card, like I was comparing it to like the type of accelerate cards people do tend to play, like maybe like the 1-0 Silica from SAO, where it's like honor versus salvage, because it does have like that Rameries type timing where like it basically has to be like an honor verse effect. But in this case, you're just getting like 1 stock opposed to like a salvage or top 4 check. So I do think it's like value-wise, you get less out of it than like the better forms of this card. So I do think it's a 1.
Unfortunate. And it's accelerate Elizabeth, not Silica.
Or yeah, sorry, Elizabeth. I'm sorry. Sorry, Yue.
Yeah. Oh.
you can't miss up the name with the sound.
What's sword art?
I don't know about this one, man. Next up, 3-2 Kyrie. If you have 2 or less climaxes in your waiting room, this card gets -1 level in hand. When this card is placed on stage from hand, you may heal 1. Then this turn, it gets 1,500 power. And then third effect, you may accelerate. Pay 1, play a Treon character from your waiting room on the bottom of your clock. At the start of your opponent's attack phase, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your opponent's characters, and for the turn, it gets -2 soul.
So it's just 10k on play, a 5 off turn. Is one of the few, like one of 2 EP healers you have in the set. Accelerate can't come up every so often when you need it.
Yeah, so I kind of unfortunate that's 2 or less. There's both other here. Did you already say that both other play healers are 2 or less?
No, I did not.
But I think that is kind of unfortunate. We do note that like this is like the same like heal power effect as like from Day I Became God. So even if you don't heal, you still get the power. I do think the accelerate effect is like really random in terms of its usages. Comparing it to like the Ellie from Love Live, like that effect is very random when you use it. So I'd say it's the same case for this card. But overall, like you're playing this as like a 2 or less early play healer, really solid, 4 stars. Probably play it in any deck you'd play yellow.
4 stars. We're getting close to a 5-star, guys. Soon.
00 June. Yo, shout outs to June, by the way. When this card attacks, look it up to 2 cards from the top of your deck. Choose a card from among them, put it on top of your deck, and send the rest to a waiting room. Put the top card of your deck into clock at the start of your opponent's attack phase. You may pay the cost if you do. Move this to an open position in your back row.
Back row runner where you have to clock yourself instead of pay one. Kind of weird. That was a small.
00 June O. Anyway. What's it called? Not a bad first effect. I don't think I'd ever want to clock myself to save this card. It's really weak, like you said. Don't think I'd ever see myself playing it. So, unfortunately, a 1.
Unfortunately, a 1. Oh, wait, did I leave 4 stars up? Right, here we go. 1.
Sag. 00 Yuichi. When this card is placed on stage from hand, look it up to 2 cards from the top of your deck and put them back on top in any order. When it attacks, choose one of your other characters and it gets X power. X equals the character's soul times 1,000.
Oh, check top 2 rearrange and a power pump. You know what set played that? Bunny Girl. Do people still play Bunny Girl? I don't think so.
Overall, not a bad utility card. You know, pretty good with clean cut, I'd say. Pretty good with like the 1/1 event. That we'll get to later, I guess. Not bad. I don't know how much if you'd play it maybe as a 1 of, but pretty niche. I think very niche. I'd say barely 2 stars.
Barely 2 star. Better than the last card.
00 Shiro. When this card is placed on stage from hand, look it up to 2 cards of your opponent's deck and put them back in the same order. When this card's damage is cancelled, you may return this back to your hand.
Yo, this is kind of like Dot Rim from Memory Snow, but instead of getting a stock, you get a hand, so it's a +1. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not bad. You can also use it with, I guess, the 3/2 Jin. You can look at the thing and like control your burn on cancels, maybe just slam with it to get some free damage to try and like push for the cancel. I think it's like a random good 1 of in like builds like that, but otherwise I don't really think like the top 2 check opponent's deck is really important a lot of the times, unless like really niche like high level 3 like game winning plays. So maybe I'd give it a 2, barely 2 as well. Small niche.
Or Shiro, he went from summoning Saber to being a 2 star.
10 Ken. Shoutouts to Ken Takahata. When this card is placed on stage from hand, choose up to 2 of your opponent's front row characters, and for the turn they get minus 1500 power.
Unfortunately, this card's a 1k booty itself.
Yeah, so I guess when I first saw this card, I was like, what's the point of playing this card? I did think like this card might have a reason to play in standby, which I'll get to later. Like potentially, like very potentially. If you tech yellow, that's really like I think the only reason I'd play it, but unfortunately it's kind of weak. The cards, a lot of the cards are pretty strong by themselves in this set. I'd give it a 1.
Or 1, boy. Feels bad for Ken.
10 Toru. If you have 5 or less cards in your hand, this card gets 4500 power.
So this card's 7k with 5 or less hand. I don't know what to say about it.
Yeah, I don't think you'd really want to play this card because you don't really want to be in the position where this card is good. So, unfortunately, yeah, I think it's a 1.
Dude, this card gets better the worse you are at Weiss Schwarz. So I think Tom should be running forward when he plays.
Oh no.
That's BM, dude.
We should all be playing for this card.
1-0 Yosuke. During this card's battle, your opponent cannot play backups from hand. When this card attacks, if the level of the character across from this is 2, this turn gets 6,000 power.
So, anti-backup is nice, but you're only swinging at 10k by yourself, so some 2/2s are just naturally bigger.
Yeah, so I would have honestly wished to see this card without the first effect and just like maybe a little more power, because generally I feel like the sole purpose of this card is to just try and like 1-for-1 with 2/2s, because they're just gonna like hand on Corum probably anyway. So the fact that it can barely even do that is like, I think, so bad, and I think this is like probably one of the worst forms of this card that I've seen. Unfortunately, I don't think I'd ever played it, so 1.
Sag.
Was that 3 1s in a row or something? Feels like.
Rip.
2-1 Mitsuru. When you use this card's backup, if you have a Treon character, choose one of your battling characters and it gets 1,000 power, and it's a 2,500 power backup. So,
Alright, go ahead, Kenny.
Okay, so I think you'd play this card in like I guess the cards that like revolve around act effect maybe. That's really the only purpose. I don't really think the other cards you'd really want to try and fight for field. They're all pretty weak on defense, high attack power on offense. So yeah, it's like not a bad card. Like 3/5 punches are pretty cool. Give it a 2-star.
2-1 Isami. When this card is placed on stage from hand, mill 3. If there is a climax among them, you may choose one of your opponent's front row level 3 or lower characters and send it to waiting room. This card is placed on stage from hand if you have 4 or more other Treon characters. Choose one Treon character in your waiting room and you may send it to stock.
Costless, potentially 1 hard remove. Potentially, though.
Yeah, so like I guess I'd compare this to like the Assault Lily one, but the Assault Lily is also an anti-bomb, so like that card can be like a double plus. This card, it's like you play it for this effect, or you tech this card for that effect and it doesn't go off, and then it's like you wasted this deck slot, right? So I think this card's like super inconsistent. So unfortunately, I think it gets a 1.
Sag.
Somewhat. Here we go.
Here's the 1-0 event. It's been mentioned twice now. If you have 6 or less stock, look at up to 5 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 Treon character among them, show it to your opponent, add to hand, and send the rest to waiting room.
So 6 or less effect could actually be pretty detrimental, especially in the mid to late game when you're trying to save a bunch of stock up. But otherwise, it's just a 5 grab, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, so in like for that 6 or less stock condition, I would say like it's not super terrible, because like you don't really need more than like 9 stock, and like, you know, if you're like playing your main phase out to like have 9 stock, I don't think like it's very bad demerit. And I also think the top check 5 is like really strong, especially because it has like a bond to it, like that we went over earlier. And it's in yellow, and I think yellow is like really easy to slot in a lot of builds. So I do think this card has a lot going for it, makes it really strong. I think this card's a solid 4, really strong.
Ooh, 4. I think yellow got 3 4s now.
Pogwog. 3-0 event. Oh. Choose up to 2 of your Treon characters. This turn they get 1500 power and the following ability. When this ability can only be activated once per turn. When this card attacks during the trigger step of this attack, perform trigger check twice.
Basically gives you two extra free stock, and then the 1/5 power could matter sometimes. One of your finisher does require reverses. Well, the most nice part of this is I think most of your finishers, not standby, does require a lot of stock to go off, so this does help alleviate some of that cost.
Yeah, so example, like we saw the Jin already, and we can discuss it more when we get to the gate combo, the Yuma. I think the power is really relevant on the Yuma, and I think like the +2 stock, as well as like the increased chance to like trigger climaxes, whether they be like choices or pants or whatever, like really helps alleviate like the total overall cost of like these level 3 combos that this set has that are like really high stock, really like strong finishing power, and it really helps. I think this is a really good tech in like either finisher, so overall I think it's a 3. Really good card.
Nice. what happens if you play 2 of these in one turn? Well, you lose one of the twin drives because the effects don't stack.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. So this is probably like a 2 of if you do
Yeah,
take
I'd
it.
probably say about 2. That's how much I've been like building with.
Yeah. Alright, and that is it for yellow. Alright, let's get into green. Ready to start, Yui?
Wait, serious question. Am I actually balding? I don't think so. Okay, let's just not talk.
What the hell?
Dude, every time I stare these days, I'm like, am I balding? Is Kevin just tickling my pickle? Anyways, let's get into green.
Look at that shiny forehead.
All right, my forehead is fucking huge, but that doesn't mean I'm balding, bro. Okay, 0-0 when pay 1, put the top card of your deck in the clock. Card is placed, sent from stage to waiting room. You may pay the cost. If you do choose a Treon character from your waiting room and add it to hand.
On Deaf Krista, Salvage Rickies. But the problem is we have an actual Ricky in the set.
Yeah. So I guess I want to like mention like right now like half of the green cards are the neighbors, which are the bad guys, because Kevin was asking about that earlier. So she's actually one of the bad guys in this show, and I want to mention I think it's really interesting that like the bad guy decks are like all on trait with the main set cards. I think that's kind of interesting. But anyway, so in terms of like Salvage Riki, like you said, like I don't know if I'd ever play this in place of regular Riki unless it was for color. And I do think that like if you're fixing for color, there is enough cards probably to sustain like playing green without needing to have to play this card. So unfortunately, I think I'd probably give it a 1. Just in context of this set.
Sag.
Yo, but the green finisher. Maybe play for that. The next.
Next up, 1-0 Ratarikov. This ability activates up to once per turn when using act ability. Gets 1500 power. Climax combo when this attacks if you have the bar climax pictured in your climax area and you have 6 or less stock. Look it up to X cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 Treon character or 3-4 event, 2-1 event, 1-0 event, all of the same name from among them. Show it to your opponent and add it to hand, and the rest to waiting room. X equals the number of your opponent's characters.
And that's where people lose interest in the card when it says your opponent characters. Sometimes you hit level 1, your opponent only has 1 card on board.
Honestly, Kasumi, Bofuri, not even that bad. I do think what's a little awkward maybe is like the act power. I think there's only a couple of cards other than Brainstormers that are like viable act options for this set, and I think that's probably like the killer of the act decks. But overall, I think like being able to grab the events is pretty cool, and like the fact that like I think green, in my opinion, is like the best user of like all 3 events, like to where you can actually like choose like which events like based on playstyle. So I don't think this combo is that bad. I think it's a 2, especially because it's like a gold bar, super consistent level 1.
Mm-hmm.
You need a gold bar level 1 to play bar choice.
Oh no.
The best lineup in the game.
All right. Serious vibes only. 3-2 Gatlin. When this card is placed on stage from hand, you may heal 1. This ability activates up to once per turn when you use an act ability. This turn it gets X power. X equals to the number of your other Treon characters times 500. Climax combo when this card attacks. If you have the bar climax pictured in the climax area, look it up to 2 cards from the top of your opponent's deck. Choose up to 1 card from among them, put it on the bottom of your opponent's deck, and put the rest of them on top of your opponent's deck in any order. This turn, this card gets 3000 power.
Whoa, it's Mocha, but you can actually kill stuff because it's like 15-5.
Yeah, I think that's pretty relevant, and I actually think like the act power becomes less of a bad argument into level 3 because I think there are like viable like 2-1s and stuff, especially in green that have like a good act ability to like power to power this card. I also like that it's like a free what's called free combo, so you can actually like make use of like anti-damage and stuff that I feel like the other level 3s can't really make use of. So yeah, I think this card's overall really solid. I expect people to try and play it. I think it's a 3. Pretty strong. People like Mocha.
Yeah, and then with this you can play Choice Bar, the second best CX lineup.
0-0 Yotaro. Discard a Treon character. When your character's trigger check reveals a climax with 2 soul trigger icons, you may pay the cost. If you do, look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 1 card from among them, show it to your opponent, and add to hand and send the rest to the waiting room. Brainstorm effect is pay 1 rest this, flip over the top 5 cards of your deck and send them to waiting room for each climax with 2 soul trigger icon among them. Search your deck for up to 1 Treon character, show it to your opponent, and add to hand, shuffle your deck afterwards. This is kind of cracked, no?
Chad asks if this kid is the final boss of the series. Well, actually, it's the Capybara.
Capybara.
Other than that,
So I think-
yeah, this is support for I open Twitched. Okay, we're back. Apparently, Twitch died on us for a bit. Yeah.
Sag.
Does not seem to be on my end, I think. Alright. What do you guys miss about this card? You guys hear they got 1 star? Because you can see it's a 1 star.
Yeah, it's a 1. You're not missing much. 2 climaxes with 2 soul. A very locked in build. Not even like compared to like maybe like a Chino or Coco or something. Don't worry about it.
Wait, this card's cracked. I'm ready to fucking max this deck. I'm
You know-
down.
You know, this brainstorm exists in Slime. I think Slime
Yeah,
was better.
but the first effect is kind of dank on a brainstorm. No,
Wait, the one on the Slime is better because you can get straight salvaged instead of check 2.
Hey, wait, let me tell you something. You know, like how there's Heart of the Cards, when you max a deck, it's called Heart of the Credit Card.
oh my god, that's cringe. That was actually cringe. I'm down. All right, next card. 0-0 Motokichi and Eizo. There's this like dish that I eat at all you can eat sushi called motoyaki. That's what I thought about when I read Motokichi. When this card is placed on stage from hand, choose one of your opponent's characters. This turn it gains. This card cannot be returned to hand nor sent to memory. Discard a card when this card is placed on stage from hand. You may pay the cost if you do choose 1 level X or lower Treon character from your waiting room. Add it to hand. X equals the number of the events, all 3 of them, in your waiting room.
I think this card is actually pretty nice if you are maxing out on the events below. Just a free discard outlet with high quality hand picks for free.
Yeah, I agree. So like first effect's not bad. Random utility. Second effect, like even if you're like playing the events and you don't have any events in waiting room, you can still use it to like hand fix and just grab zeros, right? So I think like this card is like actually really interesting when I saw it. So I think it's a 3.
Also, the relationship of the headquarters same color as the bad guys.
No idea. Is that a spoiler?
I don't know. Are the headquarters actually the bad guys?
Whatever. Dude, this is getting too big brain for me, man. 0-0 Soldier Dog. This card is placed on stage from hand. This turn, this gets plus 1500 power. Pay 1, send this to the waiting room. When your other Treon character is front attack, you may pay the cost if you do. Choose one of your battling characters, and it gets 2000 power.
Oh, it's a pay 1 field counter. Kind of bad.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty bad too. But I did think of like one pretty cheesy thing you can do with this card is you can clean cut this in the back row. You can like punch this thing with the clean cut and use the vacant slot to like clean cut your 3rd slot character. But like I really don't think you'd like slot this in anyway. So unfortunately, I think it'd be a 1.
I think it would be more realistic if your clean cut is 3k cross turn instead of 3k
Yeah,
turn.
agree.
3-2 Coscaro. This ability activates up to once per turn. When you use an active ability, all of your characters get 2000 power. Discard 2 cards when this card is frontal attack. You may pay the cost if you do. Choose a character across from this, and it gets minus 3000 power.
Yo, maybe it becomes an anti-damage if your opponent swings a 3k lower power character into it.
What is this card's like? What is it like? 3-2 Rin from Heaven's Feel. I never really understood the point of why they played anyway. Not like has like a good like on play effect or anything. I do think like the minus 3k is kind of expensive.
It's pretty expensive.
Yeah, So I don't think you'd ever really play this card, unfortunately. So it's a 1.
Potential anti-damage though. Big F.
Senjo
Big.
Gahara anti-damage.
0/0 Yomi. Discard a Treon character and send this to waiting room. Choose up to 2 1/0 Treon Soldier Idra, which is pictured. Look at the X cards from the top of your deck. Put 1 card underneath each of those characters face down as a marker. X equals the number of characters X equals the number of characters you chose. Whatever. Brainstorm, pay 1, rest this, flip over the top 4 cards of your deck and send them to waiting room. If there is a 1/0 Treon Soldier Idra from among them, choose up to 1 Treon character from your waiting room and add it to hand.
I'll have you know, I was also confused when I was translating this card. I could not understand why the first effect costs so much. It's so bad. Second effect is like okay for an army deck.
I'm gonna give it a 2 out of respect for people who like to play these dumb army decks, but I think anyone who plays these dumb army decks is cringe.
Oh, just telling you.
Oh, you just got. Oh god, I know a guy at our locals that only plays these army decks. Shout outs to you, Kevin.
Wait, what?
Wait, his name's Kevin.
Wait, what?
Not you, but his name's also Kevin.
I didn't meet Kevin when I went down to BC. What the hell?
He only plays at locals. Doesn't come hang out.
Sag.
1/0 Treon Soldier Idra. You may include as many copies of this card in your deck as you like. For each marker underneath this card gets 1500 power. This card is placed on stage from hand. Choose up to 3 of this card in your waiting room and put them underneath this card face up as a marker.
What? It's 6500? Does that mean that good?
Okay, but if you have 2 brainstorms, they're 9/5 now. It's actually just a wrap.
You go
And then
you go neg 2 in order to make them 9.
Refresh your deck, have like 12 cards out on the field.
Yeah,
Like this is like super. This is like the army logic. Oh no!
If you draw the brainstorm, so like this is what you do: you hit the brainstorm, right? You grab a brainstorm, then you sack the brainstorm, and you just keep doing that in infinite power. Treon Soldier Idra, dude.
And then you get to a deck state where it's only climaxes.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
It's broken.
Okay, 2. Move on.
2.
Wait, this is sick.
You can refresh with 9 markers. Oh, that's cool.
1/0 Katsumi. All of your other Treon characters get 500 power. Rest 2 of your characters. Choose 1 of your characters this turn against the following ability. This card's battle opponent is reversed. You may put the top card of your deck into stock.
One of those rest 2 stock charges, but this is a level 1 green, so you have to play green in order to use it. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, you know, maybe you'd play it if you're playing the green level 1 just for the axe. I guess on reverse it normally isn't too bad. It's like okay. Maybe. I guess I'd give it a 2. It's not bad, but I don't really know.
Alright, next card.
2/1 Regindets. Discard a card when your character's trigger check reveals a climax. If that climax had a gold bar trigger icon, you may pay the cost if you do. Choose a card from your clock, add it to hand, then put the top card of your deck into clock. Rest this, choose 1 of your Treon characters that gets 2000 power. Then choose a different character whose name is the same as the first character, and it also gets 2000 power.
Yo, you can make your army cards 8/5 on turn. Oh. And it's gold bar fix. That's cool.
Yeah, so card's pretty good in a gold bar. That's what I mean by like you can play this card and it'll like help turn on the 3/2 at level 3, which is why like it's good for the 3/2, but like not really that notable for like the 1/0. Anything else? Yeah, it's just a good card. 2.
2. Next up, we got this 2/1 Masafumi and Kyoko. When this card is placed on stage from hand, this turn this card gets X power. X equals the number of your Treon characters times 1000. When this card's battle opponent is reversed, you may send it to memory.
What's it? 11K? The number of your Treon characters, so it's 12K. 12K, potentially hard removal.
Yeah, so like I think this is probably really good because like you said, it can like kill like hand-on core things. Unfortunately, the thing I don't like about this card is like for general use purposes, outside of green, it's really hard to tech green into decks. And so like most of the like good green utility cards, I don't really think you're going to be playing in like other builds just because it's really hard to slot into color. So even though I think it's a really good card effect, I think it's really hard to play around. So probably just give it a 2 because it's good in the green deck, probably hard to play elsewhere.
2-0 event. It's one of the 3, the threesome. If I may coin it myself, I'm gonna call it the threesome.
Wait. US?
What? The counter ability is to choose one of your characters and return it to hand.
Pretty nice if you want to loop on play and stuff in general. That's about it.
Yeah, so when this card first came out, I got really excited because it made me think of like Classic Trap or like Campfire. But unfortunately, like this set never got like the Musashi or never got like a 4 more early play healer to like I feel like fully abuse this card. It's not bad as like maybe like an honor verse stopper or like a level 3 recycler, but like I said, it is green, which makes it like a little hard to slot in. But even in the green deck, I do think that like the other 2 events, particularly like the anti-damage and stuff, I think is a lot better in the green deck though overall. So I think this card's a 2. Could have been better. Could have been better. Could have been a 3. Could have been a 4. Like it with like.
Unfortunate.
2-1 event. This guy looks really serious mode. Switch your deck for up to 2 Treon characters. Show it to your opponent. Add the hand, discard a card, and shuffle your deck afterwards. Oh, send it to memory. Oh, Pogo.
Okay, this is like one of 3 cards in the set that goes to memory, and I don't think you're maxing out on this card.
It's a pretty good.
Yeah, you don't think you can max out on this card? I think like if you're playing green, you can easily like max out on this card and just like use it to ride level 2.
Just level. Okay.
Like I don't know, it's not. If you're playing green, I don't think it's a bad addition. I don't think if you're not playing green, you can like I said, most of the green cards I think are good, but really hard to slot into like the general build outside of like the close to mono green deck. So unfortunately, I do think it's a 2.
Unfortunate.
Sag.
Yo, your camera's dying. Oh.
No focus.
Oh, where's my page for red?
Well, I guess I should add that this guy, the 2-1 card, is I guess he's like the big boss of the good guys. He's like the company owner or whatever of the border.
Yeah, where's my red page?
Oh,
where's the break?
No break, red.
It's okay. We'll just look at this beautiful man's face while we break.
All right, let's go to red now.
But you love red, right?
Oh yeah, dude.
Red? Like
Yeah,
Marie down.
No, isn't that card on your desk red?
Oh, the
red climax. It's a red climax, right?
That's true. Red is my favorite color in Weiss Schwarz, though. It has the best cards because it has the standby trigger. 0-0 Tetsuji. If you have 2 or less stock, this card gets 1500 power. Brainstorm, tap self. Flip over the top 4 cards of your deck. For each climax among them, choose a Treon character from your waiting room and add it to hand.
Whoa, it's a brainstorm. It can potentially be a 3-5 starter if you need it. If you need it.
Yeah, so when I first saw this card, I thought like, wow, this card is so space efficient in terms of like deck building. Like, play 4 of these cards in like almost every build. It's a 3-5, it's a brainstorm, does everything. It does it all. But then like after thinking about it, it can be a little clunky, I think, because like, you know, you played in the front row, there's a liability of it dying, and then you might just never get another brainstorm again. I think that like you have to like maybe learn to control that a little bit. But overall, I think it's a very strong card. It's a 4. Probably play 4 of in almost like every build.
Am I the only one who like mulligans brainstorms in opening hands?
I do it sometimes.
I do it almost.
Really? You don't keep them?
No.
Mm-mm.
Unless my hands are like super nuts and I can afford to keep it.
Dang, bro. I like prioritize brainstorm over plussing 0, man. No joke.
I don't find myself brainstorming too much. gonna play
Yeah.
Weiss.
Fair. It's player diff, man. Kevin's just better player. 1-0 Yoko. If you have 2 or more other Treon characters, this card gets 1,000 power. Climax combo when this card's battle opponent is reversed. If you have the standby climax, so beautiful. In your climax area, put up to 1 card from the top of your deck into stock. Then reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is level 1 or higher, add it to hand.
Union combo on a standby. We've seen a bit of play before, but I mean, it's nice. It's only 5/5 though, so you have to get a reverse 5 with a 5/5 body.
Yeah, I don't I think it's a good like field topper. Like standby generally like level 1 turn can be a little clunky because you either have to like hard play 1/1s or try to like roll with your zeros into the 1-step. So I don't think this is like a bad transition card. If you're playing standby, you can play a couple of copies in your deck. But I think it's a 2.
2-star Ragnarok Acid versus 2/1 global 1 in a set.
Yellow Jin's trial deck. Should I have brought that up?
And yeah, if you need to get a reverse of a 6/5, it's slightly better. But next card.
3-2 Ray. Discard a card. When this card is placed on stage from hand, you may put the top card of your clock into stock. Climax combo. Pay 2 when this card attacks. If you have the standby climax pictured in the climax area, you may pay the cost. If you do, send the bottom 3 cards of your opponent's deck into waiting room. Then deal 2 damage to your opponent X times. X equals the number of climaxes sent to waiting room by this effect.
Icy Tail 3, but it's higher payoff, but it's more expensive. And still pretty RNG. And based on my luck with Salt Lily, my opponent was Mills 9 clean.
Yeah, so a lot of things I don't like about this card is like, one, it's like only 10k. I'd say generally like the standby level 3 combos tend to be like at least 10.5 or 11k. The combo is kind of expensive, like pay 2, so it's like 7 stock to do 3. On top of it being like a discard healer, so you're gonna be like using your stock and your hand. But I do think like, you know, if you're playing standby, you're kind of almost forced to play, and like in that case, I don't think it's that bad to run. I think it's a 3. Like if you're playing standby, it probably won't be as bad, but it's not like, and there's not a lot going for it, I think.
So the door trigger will be so low, much lower, I think.
Unfortunate.
Alright, next one.
0-0 Yuko. When this card is placed on stage from hand, reveal the top card of your deck. That card is a Treon character or event. Add it to hand and discard 1. Kevin said there's no event bonding. Well, there you go, man. You just guarantee get it with this effect.
Oh yeah, just be a good player. All the events you need is will to the top of your deck.
Discard a card when this card is placed on stage from hand. Mill 2. If you mill the climax, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose a character from your waiting room and add it to hand.
Potential double card, double hand fix, but we saw one early before, and that might be better for standby.
Yeah, I agree. The yellow one's pretty good. I do like that this one can add events though, comparatively. Or I guess no, draw, discard. Yeah, it's the same thing actually. But the reason why I gotta play this card is because Yuko and Nase, which is the level 3 standby girl, they're like the UD squad, so you gotta play them together. But it's a 2-star. It's not bad. I guess I probably agree with Kevin that I think that you would probably rather play the yellow 0 over this card.
Yuri Bond. Wow.
The Yuri Bond.
Alright, next one.
0-0 Koji. When this card is placed on stage from hand, all players resolve the following effect. If you have 5 or more memory, choose 4 cards from your memory and send all other cards to the waiting room. Put a Treon character from hand into clock. When this card is placed on stage from hand, you may pay the cost. If you do, look up to 4 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 1 card from among them, add to hand, send the rest to waiting room.
Whoa, it's like the other, it's like the accelerator, but this one is 4 instead of search discard.
Yeah, so I think you generally play this card for the first effect. Like, let's say you're playing your meta is like heavy in Grisaya or heavy in Slime. Other than that, I don't think you'd play this card particularly. Because, like, you know, the second effect's not bad, but I think you just played for the first effect, so I think it's a 2. for like meta dependency.
Dude, imagine your meta was just like they became God Psychono Slime and Grisaya.
Is this card a 5 then?
They're all aggro decks too.
Dang. Please don't come to BC, Kenny, play World Trigger. I'll lose. 0/0 Hana. When this card is placed on stage from hand, look at the top card of your deck and put it on top of your deck or into your waiting room. Return this to hand when your climax is placed on the climax area. You may pay the cost. If you choose one of your characters, and until the end of your opponent's turn, it gets 1,000 power.
Very much standard for standby decks. Just bounce back to hand with a top check filter or top check. Top check.
Yeah, so in terms of, standby card, really good card. It's everything you want it to be. Power to end opponent's turn, top check. It's not like, I wouldn't say it's super OP like the root is, but definitely pretty good. So a 2.
Okay. Next up, 1/0 Kazuaki. When this card attacks, choose one of your other Trion characters. It gets X power. X equals the number of your Trion characters times 500. Climax combo with the door pictured below. Door, gate, salvage, whatever you want to call it. I don't cringe. The cost is to discard 2 cards when this card attacks. If you have the door climax in the climax area, you may pay the cost. If you do, look it up to 4 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 4 Trion characters or one of the threesome, and from among them, show them to your opponent, add it to hand, and send the rest to waiting room.
We've seen these +2 type of climax effect with Prisma Ilia and Quintuplets recently, but unfortunately, this is because you're checking 40 to discard 2. It's even less likely to go +2. You're more likely to see a CX in the top 4 than the top 3.
Yeah. Not only that, I also think because you have to like go through 4, it can be you have to go through 4 to like get max value out of this card. It can be really awkward to use this towards the bottom of your deck. So I do think there's like a lot of times where this card's going to be super clunky to do, even though you can like high roll and pop off and go from like 2 cards in hand to like 8 cards in hand or something. I would say an upside to this card is like its first effect in terms of this combo is like it's really good with the 1/0 event from the trial deck because it's not a bad target to like keep alive into multiple turns of usage because it's like on attack power to anything, right? Yeah. But I'd probably give this card a 2.
Can't give himself power though.
Okay, so it is a Shimokai. Okay.
It is a Shimokai.
Sag.
Yeah, I see the other.
1/0 Kuniharu. This ability activates up to once per turn when you use an act ability. This turn, it gets the following ability. When this card's battle opponent is reversed, you may put the top card of your deck into stock. And auto, when this is reversed, send this to the bottom of your deck.
On those blind stalkers, when you use an act, 5/5 body makes it slightly better than the others, because they're usually just 5k. But you need to activate act in order to do this.
Yeah, I think like, if you're playing like red, it's not a bad card to splash in. Even if you're not playing like main red, but like maybe your like support color is red, it's still not a bad card to side in. Like, you get free brainstorms or something. Overall, it's like, it's solid. It's good. It's a 2.
It's nice that you can pump up the Shimokai from the combo before.
Yeah, I agree. It's probably one of the better level 1s to play in tangent with the door combo.
2/1 Ikoma looks so cool. When the salvage split soul climax pictured is placed in your climax area, mill 1 if that card is a Trion character or 2/1 event pictured. You may choose up to 1 Trion character in your waiting room, send it to stock, and this turn this card gains the following ability. If this is attacking, you can instead choose one of your opponent's back row characters. This card may front attack, treating that character as the defending character. When this card attacks this turn, this card gets X power. X equals the number of your opponent's characters times 2,000.
So it seems strong. You get to kill 2 back rows because the event gives you a chance to restand. But super RNG. First you have to mill 1 and hit, and then the event you have to have your opponent cancel in order to restand.
Yeah, so we can note that this is one of the 2 soul climaxes in the set for the level 0 green brainstormer. So if you're playing this deck, this is your combo. Kevin pretty much said everything about this card. It's pretty cheese that you can kill 2 back rows. If you play 2 of them, you can kill like 1 front row, one back row. The fact that like if you build your entire deck around this card and you whiff feels pretty bad. So of course, I'd give this card a 1.
Oh, but it does get the power. If you do restand, you get the power twice. So if your opponent's full 40, you become 14k, then 24k.
So I guess the correct answer is then to attack back row, then they cancel it, then you restand, and then you attack the front row with it, right?
Yeah, you attack with a 24k. Was it 2?
I gave it a 1.
Oh yeah, 1. Even worse. My bad.
You think it's a 2, Kevin?
No. It's too gimmicky. For my taste.
3-2 Ko. If you have 2 or less climaxes in your waiting room, this card gets -1 level in hand. Experience 4. If the sum of levels of cards in your level zone is 4 or more, for each marker underneath this card, it gets 1500 power. And when this card is placed on stage from hand, choose 1 Treon character from your clock. You may put it on the bottom of your deck. Final effect is pay 1, discard 1. When this is reversed, you may pay cost. If you do, look at the top card of your deck, place it underneath this card, face down as a marker, and rest it.
Yo, more marker stacking for your marker stacking deck, Yue.
Dude, it's time, man. It's actually time.
That this one can also marker CXs, unfortunately.
Okay, so I need a quick story time for this card. 1, he's number 4 attacker, which is why he's experience 4. But another thing is like his side effect is like when he fights people, he goes to sleep, and then he like meditates on how to beat them, so he gets stronger the next time he fights them, which is why he has this effect.
Oh, flavor.
But outside of that, it's just like the yellow 3-2 Kirie, early play 2 or less healer. Probably play it for that effect, and the other thing just comes as a bonus if you randomly want to use it. Overall solid. It is a 4.
Yeah, but you stand by him out. It's pretty cool. Alright, UA.
Next up, we got 0-0 Rokuro. This cannot be targeted by your opponent's effects. Pay 1, discard 1, send this to memory. When this is memory, beautiful. When this is reversed, you may pay the cost. If you do, look it up to 2 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 card from among them, add to hand, and send the rest to waiting room.
Low quality hand fix, but it gets you memory. It's you're second up 3 cards that goes to memory that we see. What's the flavor for it to have hexproof? Is he like matrix dodges people's bullets?
I don't actually know. I'm sorry. I actually tried to look it up earlier as well to like rewatch the episode for this scene to see it, but I couldn't figure it out. Yeah. When I first saw this card, I thought maybe there would be like a cool like recollection to this ability for why it was like designed this way, and there really wasn't anything. So I actually do think this was just like pretty as like a really bad card. Like yeah, like you said, top 2 check, not that good. Hand fix, on reverse, really bad timing. Just like overall, not that good. 500 power, 1 star.
It's bad. Yo, but can't be killed by assault lilies level 1 combo. That's cool.
Can't be killed by anything.
I guess killed by 500 power
bombs. Yeah, I can get killed by bombs. Yeah.
All right, 0-0 Kai from WCC. Dude, I'm shouting out everyone today. When this is placed on stage from hand, choose one of your opponent's characters and one of its traits this turn. That character loses that trait. Pay 1, send this to waiting room. Look it up to 4 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 Treon character from among them. Show it to your opponent, add a hand, and send the rest to waiting room. Just want to be clear. We should call these eggs, not angry clones.
How do I mute?
Not pay 1 sack self, checked off, or they're called eggs. Eggs.
How do I mute him? Alright, first effect's pretty cool. I don't know what kind of matchups you could abuse it with, but you mainly play for the second effect.
Yeah, I think potentially like first effect, like, you know, randomly like standby matchups, like give characters -1k, maybe like the all other type conditions, or like randomly I think it'll come into use, but like you shouldn't play a card for that effect. I do like that it can grab the events, and because people like to play this effect usually in standby, and I do think there is merits to playing these events in standby decks, so I think for that it's overall pretty solid. Give it a 2.
2 stars. Alright, next.
00 Tatsuya. When your other Trion character attacks this turn, it gets 1,000 power. Pay 1, send this to waiting room. When your other Trion character's front attack, you may pay the cost. If you do, return that character to hand.
It's JC, except people telling me not to say it, so it's Middle School Shinobu. And they're both used. 4K attacker is pretty nice though for this type of effect.
Yeah, I agree. Very sizable. Really cool that you have like this, you have clean cut. There's like a lot of good zeros in this set, and they can all be kind of comboed into each other. One thing I do want to note is if you do play this with clean cut, you will probably run into situations where like you won't be able to maximize like this card's power because you might want to clean cut this card. Other than that, like JC, really solid. Love the effect. It's a 4-star.
Probably keep this on board though, because you get plus letters on the front or the back.
One zero Taichi. When this card is placed on stage from hand, you may pay the cost. Pay 2 is the cost. If you do, shuffle all cards from your waiting room into your deck. When this is reversed, if the battle opponent's level is 1 or lower, you may reverse that character.
You mainly play it just for free fresh. The bomb comes up situationally.
Yeah, if you're playing red, it's definitely a good. It's one of the better cards to consider. It's like tech in. Solid overall, 2.
Sometimes it's just like completely bad deck state, so you just have refresh.
All right, 2-1 Maori.
That
Is this a
girl
guy or
card,
is this a guy? Girl.
I think it's a girl.
Okay,
it looks like the MC from My Hero.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like really confused.
Oh
Although,
no.
I mean, it's so you can be whatever you want to be. I don't know. Maybe this guy's cis. I don't know. Like I don't know. No, not cis. This guy's what? Data is the new hotness. Assist all of your other characters in front of this card against the following ability. Pay 1 when this attacks. You may pay the cost if you do during the trigger step of this attack. Perform trigger check twice. Pay 1, rest 2 of your characters. Look it up to X cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to something Trion characters or 2-1 event from among them. Show it to your hand. I'm pretty sure it's 1.
Yeah, it's
That'd be
one.
too broken if it's more. Show it to your opponent, add the hand, send the rest away in the room. X equals the number of your opponent's characters.
Second effect's like okay. You mainly have it for the twin drive assist, I guess.
Yeah, so when I first saw this card, I was thinking like, yo, opinion on like sandbuying this thing out, and then like you're playing like all of a sudden you're playing like Niji or like Mushoku Tensei, and you just have like double triggers on the field to like wombo out like your standby field. Thought it was like definitely worth a shot trying. Yeah, like you said, second effect not bad. It's kind of whatever. It's a 3-star. I definitely think it's worth trying out in that case for the first effect.
Places your brainstorm slot too, so it's slot efficient and the twin drive assist. Ooh, actually it sounds pretty good for standby.
And that way, yeah, actually that way you can like probably play like another back row assist maybe. Who knows? We'll see.
2-2 Fumika. If you have 2 or more other Trion characters, this card gets 2,000 power. And then discard Trion character. When this card is frontal attack, you may pay the cost. If you do this turn, it gets 2,500 power.
9-5 offense, 12k defense. Well, it doesn't have hand on core.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty small offense for 2-2.
Yes. So, I guess when people normally see 2-2-9-5, they get questionable, and I think one like upside to 2-2s, or more particular, or more specifically, the two or more condition is you don't have to like be completely dominating on field to like maintain power. So like you do actually have like free slots to like play tech cards. Like I mentioned earlier, like if you tech yellow, you could play like the -15 to 2 lanes. You could play like a Shimakai. There's a lot of like interesting like tech options I think you can play with this type of card. And the fact that it is like 12k on defense means like it's like a force to be reckoned with if it can make it through your turn. On the other hand, like the fact that you said it doesn't have hand on core, I think that's like the reason why it's probably designed that way with like the 1-0 event in mind, so you can kind of like pseudo hand on core, which is why I said like probably play blue in standby. It sounds really fun. It sounds very thematic to the set. Overall, I think it's 2. like 2/2. See what happens. Stand by.
0/0 Yutaka. For each of your other 0/0 Kazuki vanilla, this card gets +1 level and 1500 power. The cards pictured below, we don't review vanillas because they're vanillas. All your other 0/0 Kazuki vanilla gets +1 level and 1500 power. And discard a Treon character. When this card is placed on stage from hand, you may pay the cost if you do. Search your deck for up to 1 0/0 Kazuki vanilla. Show it to your opponent. Add it to hand. Shuffle your deck. Afterwards, vanilla are cards that just don't have effects, by the way.
So basically, this whole setup lets you get out 4 or 5 level 1 walls at level 0, but those walls kind of phase out real fast after the first or second turn.
Yeah, so you play this thing, you get this feel, your opponent's kind of forced to front into you, and then you're forced to direct into them, and you're going to be doing more damage, and like it's going to quickly lose value for this type of thing, as well as it takes up like a lot of deck space. So overall, I think it's like pretty inefficient in terms of what you're trying to do. I don't think I'd play this. It's pretty cheese. I think it's a 1.
1 for homies.
1 for the homies.
1 for the home.
0/0 Madoka. When your other battling character is reversed, choose one of your characters this turn. It gets +1000 power. Rest this. If there is no marker underneath this card, choose a Treon character in your waiting room and place it underneath this card face up as a marker. Pay 1, rest this, choose a marker underneath this card, and add it to hand.
So this card is a pay 1 +1 salvage, +1 in hand, but it's delayed. And that also means you have to get some foresight and figure out what you're gonna need the next turn when you marker it.
Yeah, so I think it's a little slow, like by itself. But I guess the important part is I think other than that 1/0 green card we went over earlier, it's the only other like act effect in the set other than brainstorms. So if you want to play like any form of the act decks, I think you're kind of forced to play this card to a certain amount, and you'll just have to like live with playing this card. And for that, I'd probably be a 2 because you're like somewhat forced to play it in some cases.
Mm-hmm. 0/0 Kotaro. All of your opponent's characters gain auto ability Encore, pay 2. This ability activates up to once per turn. When you use an act ability this turn, it gets 2000 power.
Yo, so it's potentially the power of level 1 vanilla. But as we said with previous cards, level 0 beaters kind of phase out in versatility pretty fast.
Yeah, not only that, you're also like playing the Brainstormer, right? So like you have a 3/5 in your deck already. So I don't think this card really has a place in your build just because of that. So it's a 1.
Sag. 1/0 Atsushi. It's a 1000 power backup. So a card that you use on opponent's turn to ditch in the battle phase. When you use this card's backup, you may pay the cost, which is to ditch 2. If you do, choose one of your opponent's characters whose level is higher than your opponent's level and send it to waiting room.
Alright, personally, I'm not a fan of ditch 2 anti-changes because I feel like you use so much resource real fast. But Kenny here has different opinions.
Well, I want to say that generally, I think the 2/1 type of anti-changes are really bad. I think the 1/0 ones can have a little bit more dynamic to them because they can like sometimes throw people off guard. Especially because I don't think people like will predict them. Like, let's say they get hit up early and then they like early play and you're still level 1. You can definitely like screw them out of like an attack and like anti-damage them if they're not careful. But yeah, overall it can be expensive and kind of hard to come back from even if you do use it. So I think it's a 2.
Next.
1/0 Akane. This ability activates up to once per turn. When you use an act ability this turn, this card gets X power. X equals the number of your Treon characters times 500. When this is front attack, you may mill 1. If that card is a climax, choose a character across from this. This turn it gets -1 soul.
So, on the usual case, you can potentially move one card closer to cancel, or you can just completely screw yourself over by milling the CX.
It only screws you up if your opponent's running you for more than 1 though, right? But I think generally, if you're going to be playing this card, you'd probably want to be playing like the Axe stock one more. I think that card has just more utility. It's like a soft like +1/2 or whatever. But yeah, so I don't think I'd play this card ever because I'd rather just play the Omniverse stock. So I'd give this a 1.
Sage.
So different compared to when Ryan was giving everything 2 when they deserve 1.
1/1 Haya level assist, 500 power to Treon characters. This ability activates up to once per turn when you use an act ability. Choose one of your characters. It gets 1,000 power.
So more benefits from using Act, but it's not an Act enabler itself. Feels bad, man.
Yeah, and on top of the fact that I don't really like the Act enablers anyway, or like, yeah, the Act enablers anyway, so that's why I feel like this card is potentially subpar compared to what it potentially could be, like a little better. Level assist, not bad, so I'd give it a 2.
One Yuta. If all your characters are Treon, this card gets 2,000 power. Send this to waiting room. When your other Treon character is front attacked, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your battling characters this turn. It gets 2,500 power.
Whoa, it's a 1/1 version of the 2/2 guild in Standby Slime. So it could actually be sleeper OP like the guild was.
I think some other cool things you can do, like example, if you play like the Bailout, the 1/0 blue event from the trial deck, you can like use it on this card and like potentially like double punch like 2 of your lanes. I do think this card's pretty fun. It's might be OP as long as you can play, and you can play this along with like the blue 1175 with Hand Encore from the trial deck to have like some amount. Like I know a lot of standby players like to play like more than 4 1/1s anyway, so I don't think it's like a bad thing to try out. I'd give it a 2.
Uh, 2/1 Yoshito. Discard a 0/0 Tetsuji. When you use this card's backup, you may pay the cost. If you do, shuffle all cards from your waiting room into your deck. It's a 2,500 power backup.
So plus side is it's pretty cheap. Pay 1 ditch 2 to refresh compared to the other refreshes. On the opposite side, the bad part is if you trigger a CX in your first or second attack on your last turn, you can't pay out those CXs back into your refresh.
Yeah, I agree. I tend to really like the pay 3 type of deck refreshers because, yeah, they let you pay out your entire last turn, so you can like retry button basically. Comparatively to the Grisaya one, which I thought was really awkward because you were only playing like on average like 2 of the discard target, I'd say generally you'd be playing 4, which would potentially make this a lot more consistent in that regard. So I think it's definitely interesting to try out. So it's a 2.
2/1 Hero. When this card attacks, choose one of your other Treon characters. This turn it gets X power. X equals the number of your other Treon characters times 1,000. And when this is reversed, if the battle opponent's level is 2 or lower, you may reverse that character.
This card is actually pretty good against standby decks. You can kill 1 2/2 and then 4K pump hopefully kills another 2/2.
Yeah, really good at cleaning up your opponent's field sometimes. The power boost I think is really strong. Overall, really solid card too.
Uh, 2/1 Satoshi. This ability activates up to once per turn. When you use an act ability this turn, this card gets X power. X equals the number of your other Treon characters times 1,000. And when this attacks, you may declare Asteroid out the cloud.
So I just want to say that like this dude kind of baits you. Like Asteroid is one of the names of the attacks, and he always yells Asteroid no matter what attack he uses. So it's like kind of like a mind game to be like, what is he gonna do? But other than that, like it's a beater. Like I said, I'd rather play the 2/1 KDA from the trial deck, I think, over most of the beaters in this set. But I think it's just way more consistent, way less like investing towards. So I'd give it a 1.
And this one only hits what 11.5 compared
5,
to
8, 5, 9,
13K.
5, 10, 5, 11, 5, yeah.
Doesn't hit 13K like the other one, but this one does let you shout Asteroid.
There's nothing from stopping you from shouting anyway.
No, except my judge. We're getting
No,
noise. We're getting noise complaint from the neighboring store.
Asteroid! 1/1 event. You cannot play this card from hand if you do not control a Treon character. Choose one of your opponent's characters this turn. It gets minus 2,000 power. Send this to memory. Oh man. Memory. This memory effect. Discard a climax at the start of your main phase. If this is in memory, you may pay the cost. If you do, add this to hand.
Oh wait, my bad. There's 4 cards in the set that goes to memory. Holy damn! You can get 16 memories.
All right, it's time, bro. It's time.
Go -1 to potentially snipe a back row at best.
Yeah, so when I first saw this card in Grisaya, I was pretty excited to try and play it. And with my experience with that, I thought it was rather inconsistent, and it's definitely a win harder card. So unfortunately, like, yes, it's good for killing back row, but I don't think it's worth playing. So I think it's a 1.
Check. All right. It's the banger. 2/1 event. Choose one of your 2/1 Ikomas. This turn it gets +1 soul and the following ability. This ability activates up to once per turn. When damage dealt by this card is cancelled, you may stand this card and send this card to the bottom of your deck.
I think it's we pretty much talked most about this with the actual combo. I think go ahead and give its rating.
It's a 1.
Sag. Dude, that animation on the guy in the background. Like, go back to that card, bro. Look, dude, look at the fucking guy in the background.
That's Yuma, dude. That's the main character.
That's the MC.
Look at the animation, dude. It's actually KW.
No, dude, this dude is OP. Look at him. He's literally like chopping the buildings in half. This whole fight scene.
Dude, I can't tell because he actually just looks like a blob in the background.
All right, that was it for red. All right, start it off, Yue.
All right, 0/0 Chica. When this is reversed, you may reveal up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. If you revealed 1 or more, choose up to 1 Treon character from among them, add it to hand, send the rest to waiting room, and discard a card. Pay 1 during your opponent's turn. When this is reversed, you may pay the cost. If you do, rest this, and at the start of your next Encore step, send this to waiting room.
Exclamation point, Rize. But this Rize is also a +1. That means you can also get a double hand fix and a double mill 3 if you so be it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so like with this type of effect, or like with the pay 1 Encore type effect, you can generally play pretty aggressively. Like at any point at level 0, you can just like play it onto the field and attack with it. On the reverse turn, you get the top 3 check, and then like on the next turn, like you should always just slam this card to get the value because it's just gonna die anyway. So it is like you said, it's a top 6 check, discard 2. I personally don't know how much I like it compared to Riki. You guys have like other sentiments about that, so maybe you guys can chime in on that. Because also, I think like the Nozomi, like the Chiuri, I guess, the Nozomi, can grab the events, and I think the events are like pretty integral into this set, which is why I think it's important to be able to like consistently grab them. So yeah, you guys want to say anything about that, or
Kevin, thoughts?
All I know is pay 1 +1 baby with double hand fix.
This guy's fucking pogging out down there. He's like,
Rizes are usually bad, but when it's a +1 Rize,
he's like Pepe jabbing down there, man.
But yeah, I think overall it's pretty good. It's a 4.
Yeah, fair enough.
Poggers. We still have not hit a 5 yet, though.
Yeah, no 5s. This is gonna be one of those sets. 0/0 Osama
Been cancelled.
Okay, you're right.
Osama
When
bin
this is placed on
canceled.
stage from hand, look at the top card of your deck and put it on top or bottom of your deck. Pay 1, put the top card of your deck in the clock. When this is placed on stage from hand, you may pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for up to 1 level 1 or lower character. Show it to your opponent, add the hand, and shuffle your deck afterwards.
Yo, it's basically just Ichika Riki. So it's just a Riki, you know? Well, it's nice.
Yeah, I don't think there's much to say. Really good 4.
Dude, you get Ricky with this and then get the scry for your 5-card brainstorm at the same time. That's pretty cool. That's pretty sick. I think that's really cool.
Okay, sir. I mean, it's just a Ricky, man. If you ever played Weiss, you know, Ricky effects are just these.
3/2 Yuma. When this card is placed on stage from hand, you may heal 1. Climax combo. If the Pants Climax is in your Climax area, this card gets 4,000 power and the following ability. When this card's battle opponent is reversed, you may deal 1 damage to your opponent. Pay to discard a card at the start of your encore step if this card is in the front row and all of your opponent's front row slots are empty, or if all of your opponent's front row slot characters are reversed. I think they don't have to be at the same time. You can be either empty or reversed.
Yes.
You may pay the cost if you do deal 2 damage to your opponent.
No, I mean, no, it has to be one or the other first. If you think about it, if all your opponent's characters in the front row are empty, then they have no characters reversed. If all your opponent's characters in the front row are reversed, it doesn't matter if it's empty. If it's like some empty slots. That's how the working works.
Yeah, it's like Joker from Persona.
What?
But
yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it's a healer. With the combo, it's really strong with like 15k, 14k. The Joker part, I think, is what makes it really interesting, because you don't necessarily even have to like combo to like get this off, which means you can like splash it into other builds. Like, you know, you can play it with the choice, or you can play it in standby, and like if you're strong enough to like kill their field, then like you can get some good like climax combo list finishers off. But in terms of the combo, I think it's like really solid. The set supports it really well with a lot of good power effects, and I think even if your opponent like figures out how to like counterplay it, there's still, I think, like backup in the form of like anti-damage to like be able to play this card effectively. And because of that, I'm actually going to give this a 5, because I think this card is like a set identifier.
Yo, we got our first 5, baby! Not a doomed set! The set's not doomed!
It's a pog.
Oh yeah, okay, I gotta mention that. Oh yeah. Okay, so like this takes place during the B rank wars, and like if someone gets a kill, they get 1 point, and if it's the last man standing, they get 2 points.
Ooh.
Oh shit!
Yo, we should roll on top of flavors for the set, except for the fact that number 3. Oh, air horn. That's right. True. Where's my air horn button? Ooh. It's so loud.
It's
we
a
got a 5, baby. All right. Cool card. Cool card.
3/2 Hyusei. When this card attacks, you have 2 or more other Trion characters. It gets 4,000 power. And pay 1 when this card is placed on stage from hand. You may pay the cost if you do. Your opponent sends all their stock to a waiting room, then puts an equal number of cards from the top of their deck into stock.
Oh wait, we can't keep the 5 up. Stock swap. Yeah, level 3 stock swap. Always nice to have, better than to not have. But it's also nice that it's also a huge power tool, which helps support your finisher.
Yeah, I agree. And like in terms of like calculating the math out to play this card with your combo, it's the exact same cost effect wise as like just playing a Yuma. So yeah, it's overall really solid. I'd probably give it a 2 or a 3. Can I give it a 3 because of the power? Yeah, I'd give it a 3 because of the power.
Okay. Good card. Good card.
Good card.
0/0 Kotaro. When this card is placed on stage from hand, reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is a Trion character, or a 3/4 event, or 2/1, you know, the threesome. This does not suffer soul penalty when side attacking. Pay 1 discard a climax. When this card is placed on stage from hand, you may pay the cost if you do. Choose a climax from your waiting room and add it to hand.
Mainly play for the second effect, but the first effect is a nice upside.
Yeah, not bad. Lets you like keep your board when you're playing against like things you can't kill. I think this is like probably the only card in the set that lets you like probably enables the spamming of the choice combo. So I think in like that type of deck, I think it's rather imperative. If not, it's climax swap is just generally pretty good effect. Give it a 2-star.
Two-1 Shiori. 2,000 power assist to level 3 or higher characters, and when your character trigger check reveals a soul trigger, choose one of your Trion characters. This turn it gets 1,500 power.
So some really good synergy with this and the 3/0 event that we saw earlier, the yellow one. You can talk about it, Kenny.
Okay, yeah. So this is the other assist that I had in mind when I was like thinking like what would complement the 3-2 Yuma the best, either this one or the 2-1 yellow one. This one I think gives more standardized power across all of them, especially if you like you said play the 3-0 event. You can get more soul triggers in, potentially just get more power out on the field, just kill everything. And I think that's really important. So forget what I gave the 2-1 already, but I'd give it whatever I gave the 2-1. Was it a 3 or a 2?
We'll give it a 3 for now.
Yeah, really good card, really solid.
Is this just Love Life Sunshine? Is this deck just Love? Not. Is this just Nijigasaki at this point?
Potentially, except you don't have the standbys.
No, I think the Niji one is like way stronger because it's 2K and it's a 1-0.
Yeah, for sure.
And it has a soul trigger for some reason.
Yeah.
Kind of busto.
Cringe.
1-0 card.
3-2 Masataka. That's 4 A's in a name. That's crazy. Like that's actually just this card just probably deserves a 5 because of that. We have 4 more other characters. This card gets -1 level in hand. Pay 2 when this attacks. You may pay the cost if you do mill 4. Deal X damage to your opponent. X equals the number of climaxes milled this way. When this card is sent from stage to waiting room, you may return this back to hand. If you do, choose up to 1 Trion character in your waiting room and send it to stock.
Icy tail effect that can also recycle itself. That's pretty neat.
Wait, is this Icy Tail or is this like Ronko?
Why it's not Icy tail when it's attacking you?
Yeah, it might be Ronko.
Oh, you mill. Wait, you mill 4. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is Ronko.
Okay,
Not
no,
Icy
ignore
Tail.
the exclamation point Icy tail then. My bad.
Okay, yeah. So I think like generally because like we've seen the Yuma now and the Jin, like I think the level 3s generally are pretty stock intensive, so you don't really want to be using this effect I think too often. On the other hand, I think it's pretty interesting that it's basically like a 2-1 free floating 9/5. So it's like it can be kind of used as a beater in that sense. The downside being I think it's like rather weak in terms of the other power level 3s we've seen. So if this card actually transitions into level 3, it might not be helpful in terms of like helping kill your opponent's field to like get the Joker effect off. So for that I'd give it a 2.
Mm-hmm. Real talk though, this has some standard potential. Like actually, this has some broken standard interaction.
You can't EP it in standard though, unless you're playing a Trion standard deck.
No, even at level 3, because you could just. Oh no, you can't even
Stop.
infinite it. It puts a tree on. Okay, this card sucks. Oh, F it. This card sucks. 0-0 Osamu experience for each Trion character in your level zone. This card gets plus a level and 2,000 power. Climax combo at the start of your encore phase. If you have the book climax in your climax area, and you have 2 or more other Trion characters, look up to 4 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 Trion character or the threesome events from among them. Show it to your opponent, add to hand, and send the rest to waiting room.
Oh, she didn't put it in the slide this time. Was it because we had it too many times now?
Probably.
Already desensitized to threesomes.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of level 0 combos. What was the last one that's actually good?
I think you said that last stream.
That was Ryan who said that last stream.
Oh, okay.
I'm just regurgitating what he said.
Okay. But yeah, I agree. Like, level 1 combo, like kind of slow, or not kind of slow, kind of like bad, right? Because it doesn't like flow well into like the overall game plan. But honestly, it's like almost a Maguro, right? It's like only 1k power less than a Maguro at level 1. So, like in terms of like vanilla Weiss, it's like okay.
Okay, the difference between a 4k and a 5k is quite a lot.
It's true. That is true. Your 4K is not killing anything, basically.
Yeah, but unfortunately, yeah, I don't think I'd play this. There's actually just good combos like level 1, whatever. So it's a 1.
Oh wait, man. Oh yeah, that levels. It's just 5k. 5k versus 6k. My bad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Dude, but the scaling though, like you got to talk about the scaling, dude.
At level 3, it's an 8k.
Oh.
Some scaling here, bro. All right, whatever. Next card, 1-0 Yuma. He's drawn much better here than in the other card. When this is placed on stage from hand, look at your opponent's hand. Oh, dude, this is some MTG right here, man. And when this is reversed, if the battle opponent's cost is 0 or lower, you may send that character to the bottom of your opponent's deck.
Yeah, this goes Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! They always tell me hand knowledge is powerful. And Weiss is not as powerful.
Yeah, I agree.
Unless you randomly see your opponent holding like 5 CXs. Then you just laugh at them.
You didn't note that this card has a soul trigger, though.
Oh, she didn't note it. I'm
it
pretty
had a
sure I
trigger.
noted.
Okay. But yeah, so I think in most cases that you would want to play this card, you'd probably just play the level 1 Jin, the stock bomb, because it'd be on color. I think the hand picks, like you said, like Weiss hand, like there's even cards that like cost that like people say reveal your hand if there's a climax, blah blah blah, and like it's not really a big deal. Show your opponent hand, honestly, which is kind of sad. But yeah, I think overall it's like kind of average. I don't really know when I'd want to play it, so I'd actually give this a 1, unfortunately, even if I think it's pretty sick.
Badge. MC gets 1.
1-0 Husei. When damage dealt by this is cancelled, you may send this to stock.
It's huge.
Climax combo. This ability can only be activated up to once per turn. When damage dealt by this is cancelled. If you have the 2 soul climax in your climax area and you have another Treon character, look at up 2 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 2 Treon character or events from among them. Show them to your opponent. Add them to hand and send the rest to waiting room.
2 soul combos. They became god ones really good. And
yeah, so
7-5, but this one's kind of bad.
Nah, but like I honestly thought this card was pretty sick, dude. Like you play 3 of these, you slam 3 of these. I feel like in all combinations where like your opponent cancels or takes damage, it's pretty plus, right? Like you can potentially get like, I don't really know, you guys can math it out, but I honestly don't think it's bad. Like there's a lot of plussing you can get even if you're like having to slam. You'll get a lot of resources really quickly. So I think this is a 2. I honestly like it better than like the door combo, for example.
Ooh.
Even though I guess I also rated the door combo a 2.
Either you stick 3 damage or you get +2 hand, +1 stock.
Alright, 2-1 Chica. Climax combo. Send the pants climax from your climax area to waiting room. At the start of your encore step, you may pay the cost. If you do, shuffle all cards from your waiting room into deck. Rest 2 of your characters. Choose one of your characters until the end of your opponent's next turn. It gains the following ability. When this is front attack, you may return this to hand.
Oh, it's costless +1. Other than that, the climax combo's there, I guess.
Yeah, so like, when I first saw this card, I thought maybe you could be like hot tech, play like one of these and one of the climaxes in any build. But then like as they started reprinting more and more cards, like there's a couple of deck refreshers. There's like the classic trap event where you can bounce things back. So like I feel like the niche of this card is like replaced by already like more standard cards in the main set. So I don't really think this card has too much place in builds, so I'm gonna give it a 1.
Sag.
Next.
0-0 Sakurako. At the start of your climax phase, you may look at the top card of your deck. And Brainstorm, pay 1, rest this, flip over the top 4 cards of your deck. For each climax among them, repeat the following effect to look up at up to the 3 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 card, add it to hand, and send the rest to waiting room.
Check 3 Brainstorm rarely sees play. That's basically all I have.
Yeah, I guess sometimes people play them. It's up to them. They are ever since it came out in like Slime or something. Like they've been like randomly printing it in some sets. Overall, I guess it's not bad. Like the first effect's pretty useful sometimes. I guess it's a 2.
Zero Daichi. All of your other 2-2 Hisato vanillas, vanillas being cards with no effect, gets +1 soul. Pay 1, discard a card, rest this. If your level is 2 or higher, choose 1 2-2 Hisato in your waiting room, place it on stage in any slot.
Do note that the vanilla is 12k power, does not have a soul, and does not have a soul trigger.
I don't know. I think this card's kind of cheese. I guess I want to talk more about this card when the 2-2 comes up, but for now, just
2-2's not coming up.
Oh no, we talk about both cards here.
Yes, we talk about both cards here.
Okay. So this is I want to reference Ken Takahata post where he asked like, would you rather play a level 0 with 2 soul or a level 0 with no soul? And I feel like this follows like the opposite logic of this, where like you actually kind of want these cards to have soul later in the game so you can do damage, and like even if you can bully people with like the field presence, I just don't think I don't think you want to be playing it. So I think it's a 1.
But the support gives the soul back.
Yeah, just have
But
two
you can-
support up. So it's
But like
decent
on defense, this card's basically the same power as the 2/2, the standby target.
It's true. Keck. Sag, man. One day. Did I remember someone saying this card was good in the standby deck for this, but I'm not. I don't know. I could be remembering wrong. Maybe it was for something else. 0/0 Yuma. The character across from this and this card cannot side attack. At the start of your opponent's attack phase, you may move this to an empty front row slot with a character in the slot across from it.
Yo, it's like Goblin Slayer Chaser, except it's 500 less power in the level.
Yeah. I do think this card's pretty good. I think, in the case earlier we mentioned, like, if you don't play the clean cut, you'd play the yellow runner. I think if you don't need the yellow, you'd play this runner, because I think you can really bully people with this card. Bad memories from Goblin Slayer. Overall, really solid. I really like the chasers that force you to front attack. So I'd give this a 3.
Okay.
No, I don't think it's that bad for a chaser. Like, I'd say generally like the chasers are 3/5, Goblin Slayers are 3K. But like I'd say a lot of cards you could run into with this card, you'll be bigger than.
But it's pretty easy for them to answer though.
But if they do the play that like I'd say like the best play is like they play one characters over it. That's usually how I think people kill chasers. But I think they're like slowing down their aggro game, which I think is really important in Modern Weiss for level 0.
Mhm.
All right.
Fair enough.
next.
1/0 Osamu. 500 power assist, and at the start of your climax phase, choose one of your characters this turn. It gets X power. X equals the number of your 1/1 events in your memory times 1,000. Okay.
We mentioned this before, there's no bonder to the event, so it's pretty hard to get events in memory, besides hard drawing them.
Yeah. Outside of that, like I think this card's pretty good. Like if you can do that, but yeah, like I said, inconsistency of the event makes like all of the cards that revolve around this event really hard to play. But if you do get them, it's actually a pretty good card. So I guess I'd give it a 2, maybe.
Okay. 1/1 Sumiharu. It's a 2,000 power backup. When you use this card's backup, if all your characters are Treon, you may put the top card of your deck into stock.
It's basically a 1/0 2K backup, but you can grab it off choice.
Yeah. The set didn't print a 2K punch, but I guess because the set has choice, it's probably better this way. So it's a 2. It's really solid.
It's also because it says soul trigger, so you have a bunch of effects like procs off triggering souls.
Yeah.
1/1 Chica. When this is placed on stage from hand, choose one of your opponent's characters. This turn it gets. This card cannot be returned to hand nor sent to memory. When this is reversed, if the battle opponent's level is higher than your opponent's level, you may send that character to the bottom of your opponent's deck.
Just not a dodgy, but you can potentially like hard remove 2 cards, if so be it.
Yeah, so I respect that World Trigger has a lot of these, like, I guess, anti-meta effects. You're probably going to be playing this in a lot of builds because, like, Dachi's pretty stable. It's not bad that it has a pretty good first effect or other effects, so I'm going to give this a solid 2.
Oh yeah, her head looks so huge here. Dude, her,
Yeah,
her head's
actually-
like as wide as her chest.
Yo, you're gonna get canceled, bro. Dude, you're canceled, not me.
You're getting canceled. This is your channel.
Oh, fuck, you're right. It's an A.
All right, that's all. What was it? 2?
Yeah.
2. Kevin knows a lot about patons.
Oof.
2/1 Shinosuke. If you have 2 or more other Treon characters, it gets 1,000 power, and when this attacks at the level of the character across, is 3 or higher, this card gets 6,000 power for the battle.
Yeah. So it's 14k against level 3. Like better than the other level 3 beaters, where they only get 13k.
Yeah, so it's 1k bigger than the trial deck. I'd say I'd probably only play this if I needed the blue, because I still think I like the trial deck one better, because the trial deck one just gets power against anything, so we can kill 2s, kill 3s.
Kill ones.
Kill 1s, kill 0s. But so yeah, I'd give this a 2. It's solid. Pretty vanilla effect.
And here's the 1/1 event that we've alluded to so many times. Choose a Treon character from your waiting room and add it to hand. It goes to memory. Reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is level 2 or higher, send it to stock.
Stock events, but it's less consistent, in my opinion.
Yeah, like I definitely think the 1 or less is way better.
No, it's,
I
usually
think
0 or less. Level 0 character. That's the one in
Oh, is it?
That's the one in Grisaya
Okay.
a million life.
Okay, yeah, I think the 0 or less is way better. I think having discard bond is way better. This card probably could have been pretty good if it had a bonder, but unfortunately it doesn't. So I think this card and all the cards around it are super inconsistent. But I guess, you know, it's still a memory card. So I guess, you know, there are 4 cards that go to memory, right?
Oh yeah, dude, memory. Memory can
I think
baby.
I think it's a 2. Otherwise it would have been higher, I think, if there was a bonder.
Restart is
3/4 event, one of the threesome counter. If you do not, it's a counter. If you do not have a Treon character, you cannot play this from hand. You can play this card without meeting any color requirement. Choose a battling character this turn. It gains the following ability. This cannot deal damage to players, and you may choose one of your characters. Return it to hand.
whoa. So then we can play as a standby without having to play blue.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah. You can play what's it called? So I think it's probably best in the bar, like I mentioned before. I think it's really expensive to where, like, if you play this in the Yuma deck or the Jin deck, you probably won't be doing it most of the time, because you're going to be trying to actively go for the combos. I guess I want to mention that because what's it called, Bushiroad rulings or whatever, that they changed, if you bounce back, or no, it's timing, right? So never mind. I was going to say, like, you can anti-damage and bounce back and it'll still, like, do the but sorry.
What?
That
Okay.
was
Okay, sure.
I was thinking of the situation where, like, you know, you win and then you anti-damage, but I don't think this follows the same after, like, saying it.
You bounce
anyway.
your characters back. See, in
Yeah,
dodge
but
and
there's-
reverse
yeah.
effect in one lane, and then you stop damage in general for the other lane. But it's pretty
Yeah,
expensive.
So pretty niche, I think. I think generally I would want to be playing the 1-0 event in the builds that I'd probably want to play this, like, package in. But overall, not bad. I'd give it a 2 probably.
Fair.
Fair. Alright, that's it for blue. Just a little bit of box topper PR, so we'll just breeze through those real quick.
All right, we got 0/0 Kyrie. It's a 1,000 power assist to level 0 or lower characters. And when this is reversed, if the battle opponent's level is 0 or lower, you may send that character to stock. If you do, put the bottom card of your opponent's stock into waiting room.
Yo, this makes your level 0 combo a Maguro size 0 combo.
Hey, there we go. No, but no, only for
Level 0.
Well, yeah, because, you know, when
Oh,
it levels
you get
up,
to
when you
level,
level up,
it
it
gets-
becomes level 1, so it's pretty ripped.
So what?
Sag.
It's actually pretty ripped.
Okay.
I thought this card probably could have been insane. Like, you know, if the clean cut was a 3k, it might have been insane. I don't think you want to play this in the blue stuff with, like, the mill 6 or something, because I actually think you want that card to die, so I don't think you want it to be overthin things most of the time. Could have been good in this set. I don't think really it's that good, honestly. So maybe a 2.
Sure, your 3-5 brainstorm a 4-5.
Oh, that is true.
1/0 Yuichi. When this card's battle opponent is reversed, you may send that to memory. Send this to memory. If you do at the start of your next draw phase, choose this card in memory and place it on stage in any slot.
Time machine. So if you ever want costless +1, it's an option.
Yeah, so what's it called? Time Machine, then there's the Stock Bomb, or there's the double trigger from the trial deck. I think all three are pretty viable. Personal choice, pick what you like. It's a 2.
I picked the event bonder.
Yeah, you can even play that. Or no, I guess my choice is playing that with any of those, but yeah.
0, 0, Yotaro and Hyusei. When this attacks, if you have one or less other characters, you may mill 1. If that card is a level 0 or lower character, place it on stage in any back row slot. When this attacks, choose one of your other Treon characters. This turn it gets X power. X equals the number of your other Treon characters times 500.
What happened to Capybara? Are they eating it?
Yeah, delicious.
Wait, actually?
No.
They have too much boy
That's
Capybara.
messed up. That's actually messed up.
Nah, dude, the Capybara is like their BFF.
Okay.
Alright, so it's a level 0 spawner, but doesn't help you spawn like other level 0 spawners. You don't get the check top tier range. But it does have use later in the game as a Shimikai.
Yeah, unfortunately, like there is a Shimikai, like the 1-0 Shimikai. So, but this is like 0, so you can play this in any build. But yeah, I do think both specs are pretty unsynergistic because generally, I think the spawners are really good if they have like the top 2 rearrange or something. And like, you know, you could argue you could play it with like top 2 checkers or whatnot, but then it's like 2 cards to get like a +1. It's kind of spotty at that point. Overall, it's not bad. Like 2 pretty good effects onto 1 card. It's a 2 though. It's also green maybe, so that could be a thing to like help green fix. But
this card can summon the Capybara though.
nice.
1-0 Chica. When this is placed on stage from hand, choose one of your Treon characters. It gets 1500 power. When this attacks, look at the top card of your deck and put it on top of your deck or into your waiting room.
2 pretty generic and boring effects. Thoughts?
It's okay. I think there's better like level 1 choices to play. So that's a 1, I think.
Feels bad.
2-1 Yuma and Osamu. When you use this card's backup, choose one of your battling characters. It gets the following ability. When this card's battle opponent is reversed, send it to memory. It's a 3000 power backup.
I like memory kick backups. 3K backups are nice.
Yeah. I think memory kick backups are pretty sick. They're really good at bullying opponents. There aren't a lot of particular builds I'd say that are super power focused though, so it might be really niche in terms of like the right build you can fit this card into. And I think generally because you're going to be playing 4 of the deck, the 4 of the brainstormers, you'd probably be more incentivized to probably play the deck refresher punch. But overall, I think if you're playing like Yak deck, I guess, or like the 3-2 early play that like stacks markers, maybe this might be a good choice. But I think it's a 2.
Fair enough.
Oh, and that is everything. Woo, done. There's one more PR that we didn't go over, but it's just a vanilla empty door CX for some reason.
Oh, actually?
Yeah, it doesn't combo with anything
I didn't know about that.
that we know of yet.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. So that is it for the 15th episode of the Best Ever Weiss Schwarz Set Review Show. Thank you so much, Kenny, for being on today. And I can tell you're enthusiastic about the show. So that's always really cool to have.
Dropping down some big flavor knowledge. Ooh.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, some next level flavored knowledge. Do you have any shout outs you want to give? It's your floor, so feel free to do any shout outs.
Hey, I did it earlier, but I guess shout out to card translator Chad Powell, Nova TCG, good friends with them. Miles, if he's here. My Osana Najimis, Anthony and Jason. SoCal, love you guys. Hawaii, love you guys. Thank you, Yue and Kevin, for letting me hang out here.